guys, I just wanted to put a little public service announcement out there. This comes up every so often, and no matter how I try to explain this, it just doesn't seem to be good enough for some people. And if you're a tarot reader, I would love for you to chime in on this, especially if you have psychic abilities, rather than just being, a reader or intuitive or what have you. Even though some people think intuitive is psychic abilities, I kind of distinguish between both of them differently. But I get people that come in and criticize me because of how I flip and how I shuffle the cards. I actually flip in reverse and vertical, if you've ever noticed in my videos, okay? Now, this is not the common way. It's not the textbook way that people, when they learn how to do tarot, what they do. It actually comes from, originally the tarot comes from medieval Italy, I believe. The whole thing is about reading a story, so you flip the pages like you do a book. It's actual art. I've never really claimed to be, into the art of tarot or reading or its rules or what have you. Let me tell you how this happened, because people asked about my story, like, how did I get into this? And I've had viewers ask this. This is how this happened. I didn't know that I had an ability for at all. I just knew that I could look at people and I could see things that other people couldn't see. And this was when I was very young. I was like 6 or 7, okay? I would see, not auras, but it's hard to explain. Like, I could see that people were shiny, or I could see that things were going to happen, and I didn't understand it for a long time. And my sister had actually bought a pair of, and I used to shuffle cards all the time because I used to play cards with my sister. So I used to shuffle and I used to deal cards and flip or whatever, like a normal 7-10-year-old would have. So my sister, she was 18 years old. And I think when I was 12, I was probably 12, she got into a phase where she was very much like kind of into that kind of stuff, astrology and whatever, like some teenagers do. She might have been younger than that. And she got a original deck of Rider Waite. Okay, I didn't know anything about it. I didn't know anything about astrology. I didn't know anything about this stuff. I just knew my sister was like into weird stuff all of a sudden. So she lost interest in that. They got put in the basement somewhere, and I found them. Okay, so I got them out. I was 16 at the time, and I was joking with my mom, and I was raised Catholic, by the way, so that's why I pray when I read, for those of you that are wondering. And I got them out, and I was shuffling just like I did a normal deck of cards. And my mom, who really didn't believe in that stuff, my family's from Spain, and I did have some relatives who practiced arts, like that. But I didn't know anything about it. So I was like, hey, let's get this out. Let me start reading these cards. So I just took them out and I started shuffling them, and I started laying them out, and I started seeing things. Okay. Now, again, I never studied tarot. I don't know anything about it. I just had cards with pictures on them. And I'm also an art major. That's my degree. So maybe art, and I come from a family of fine artists too in Spain. So maybe that was part of it. So I just started flipping these cards. And I remember me and my mom were really lighthearted about it. And I said to her, it looks, I see that you're going to travel. And I see that you're going to get a large inheritance. You're going to travel over water. You're going to get a large inheritance. And she's laughing. Oh, who's going to leave me money? Tia Manalita is 90 years old, but she's our great aunt. She wouldn't leave me anything. And she was talking about over in Spain, because that's the only place that she would actually travel over water. So we kind of laughed about it, and we put it away. And, 1 week later, honestly, her mother in Spain died. And she actually had to fly over there, and her brother had to make arrangements, and she inherited a very large sum of money because my grandmother was wealthy. And when she came back, the first thing my mom said to me was, I never want to see those cards again. So I was horrified because I felt like I did something really bad. I felt shamed. So the cards went away. And I didn't do anything with them for years. I didn't try to hone my ability because I felt like I was a bad person. And I just kind of like shoved it down. So come to not much later in my life, when I got to be an adult, when I was 18 or so, it was like 2 years later, probably in my 20s, I decided to start learning about this stuff and what my abilities were, again, outside of the tarot, all right? And if you guys want to click off of this video, it's fine. It's just for those people that are so insistent on how I flip cards, and it's just starting to piss me off. Um, so, I mean, I learned about the abilities like, okay, I actually went to a um, psychic development shop where I got labeled or defined as through my abilities. They put us through a series of tests, and I got defined as a psychic empath. Okay, so I could read people's energies, but I also have a psychic ability. And okay, fine, I did nothing with that. Then years later, I started seeing things around my house right after the birth of my daughter. Okay, so I started feeling cold spots. I started feeling like I was being watched. I started seeing things move. And I got very frightened. I was very worried about that, especially being raised Catholic. I'm like, oh my God, I'm possessed. So I went to go see a medium, actually, and to talk to her. And she told me that that was just because of my abilities and things around me touch on me. Okay. So I was like, okay, whatever. Still did nothing with it. Well, I ended up being in a shop and I found a pair of tarot cards and I thought, you know what, let me just buy these just for the fun of it. It was Rider Waite. And I went home and I started shuffling them and I started seeing things. Okay. And I was like, you know what? And I'm a skeptical person by nature. So I really didn't think anything of it. I mean, I was like, can I believe this? Can I not? I don't know. I don't know if I believe in this because I've always been a skeptic by nature. So I got all of my most skeptical friends like ever. And I lined them up and I was like, hey, I think I have this ability. I see things with these cards. I'm just going to start flipping stuff and you let me know. And they're like, yeah, whatever. Well, it turns out stuff started coming true. I know things about them that they didn't know, and they started getting freaked out. I was like, okay, this is weird. And only then, after all that time, did I actually look into tarot and spreads and what it was about and what have you. All after that, okay? So I always just flipped the cards the way that I felt comfortable with flipping them, and I got the messages the way that I got them. And I started talking to other tarot people, and they said, it's not the norm, okay, for sure, but the cards are just a vehicle for your abilities. They said, you could do it with stones, you could do it with tea leaves, you could do it with index cards if you wanted to and write words on them. It's just something for your hands to do, for you to channel, to make the messages kind of happen. And it just so happens that I like the tarot. I like how they feel. I like shuffling. Actually, the way that I shuffle is causing me physical injury, but I can't do it any other way. It doesn't feel right when I do it any other way. But everyone is insistent that I pull reversals because I flip and reverse, which is ludicrous to me because I flip the cards. I turn my entire deck around after each reading, and then I reshuffle. And then sometimes I scramble. So it has nothing to do with that. And then I often wonder, okay, so should I just turn the camera around and then just read the cards? So maybe I should shuffle and then read the camera around. The point is that in regards to my accuracy for personal readings has been, I'd say 99%. And I'm not lying about that. You can ask people, you can, I've had comments and stuff, and it has been accurate. It's still incredulous to me. I'm so blessed to have this gift. So if a lot of you people out there want to make it about rules and how I flip and about the cards, you need to realize that my ability came way before my knowledge of the cards came. And you can get mad about that. You can try to school me in the comments. You can try to tell me what you want to tell me. But to me, and this is personal for me, this is just something to do with my hands. And I like the story of the tarot. I like the pictures. I like things that I see. I like that they mean things. And I just folded that into what I do. So that's just something that had to be addressed. I'm sorry it had to be so long. For those of you that are interested, you can listen. For those of you that are still pissed off, you can leave your pissed off comments, how I'm ruining people's lives or whatever by guiding them wrong and all this other stuff, which I don't know. I don't know. That's kind of weird. But anyways, so that's that. All right. I just wanted to address that and get that out. I'm fine. I just want to educate people on where I came from and what I'm about. Okay. So adios from Veronica Garnet. Thank you for listening. Bye.